It's the 4th of July in 1977. John and Jean Block board their 1969 white and green single-engine Cessna 150J in preparation to fly from a small airport in Macomb, Michigan to the Lost Creek Sky Ranch Airport in Luzerne, Michigan. Their approximate departure was 11:05 a.m. Their approximate arrival would have been between early and mid-afternoon. Sadly, John and Jean Block never landed at Lost Creek Sky Ranch in Luzerne, Michigan, and to this day, there has not been a credible sighting of John and Jean Block or their 1969 Cessna aircraft. Join us as we dive deep into the case and examine the facts. Follow us as we embark on pinpointed searches through Michigan's desolate swamps and vast forest. At the very least, help us spread the word of John and Jean Block so that their memory remains not forgotten.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Not Forgotten. I'm here with Jeff, and we are talking about the John and Jean Block case. If you guys been following us in our channel, you know that case pretty well. If this is your first episode, it's the case from the intro on the video, and go back and watch our other videos. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow along with us because we are trying to find this airplane. There's two people missing along with an airplane that went missing in the 70s, so it's very important, and we definitely want to help the family and try to bring some closure and find this airplane. So basically today, though, what we want to do is we want to just give you guys a quick update video on what we've been doing with that case in the last little bit and what we're going to be doing in the winter. So just to give off name a few things is obviously, if you've seen our search videos, we've had a couple searches we've done. Me and Jeff and even Jenny Block has gone along with us. There's a lot of other people that were involved in those searches behind the scenes as far as getting targets and things like that. But we were the ones who actually went out and physically did it with Jenny. So that's who we were on the screen there. So you guys know. Anyway, so yeah, so we did those searches. Obviously with winter coming along, we aren't going to really be able to go out in the woods too much and search. We could, but it's just not going to be as advantageous because the plane is, the majority of it is green and white. And we're just thinking we're going to have trouble seeing a white plane and a bunch of white snow. It just seems like we'd be better to search when it's not snow, when there's not snow on the ground. Yep. However, we have also found some targets that we think are interesting in some different swampy areas. And depending on strategy that we come up with our team, we may or may not venture out to search some of the swamp areas in the winter, maybe when the swamp freezes where you can actually walk on top of the water. We might try to do that. So that's something that could come down the way. But as far as other than searching, we got some good stuff coming down the pipeline too. I don't know, Jeff, you want to talk about some of the people we've kind of ran into? Or
and what he's trying to say too about some of these swamps is it's going to be hard to see things right now, like he said, because of the snow and everything. But we might check some these swamps.
Your dog is going nuts back there.
I got a cat here and he's wrestling with the cat. But what we could do is get out on the ice on these swamps and get the GPS coordinates of some of these targets that we're seeing that is in the water. We have metal detectors, so we can get close in there. We can even stick the metal detector into the water a little bit, see if we're picking up any readings on that. What we got going on next week, we have been in contact with law enforcement, some detectives, crime scene investigators, some other people that are good with forensics and things like that. We're waiting they contacted us last week. We had a little meeting with them on Zoom. We sent them some information, and we're waiting to hear back from them for that. I guess they've been looking at this case. They're actually talking to the guy that's actually head of charge of this case for the sheriff's department. So anyway, next week, another thing that we're going to be talking to is a guy that's pretty big on shipwrecks. I guess he's located a bunch of them. Don't really know much about him yet, but apparently he's going to come do a meeting with us on a Wednesday. We're going to see if we can get that uploaded for a video. We got a lot of things going on, so
yeah, we're hoping to get a lot of these interactions of people we meet on YouTube for you guys. obviously it's a kind of a sensitive topic for some people. And of course, just, telling somebody, hey, you're going to be on YouTube, you got to kind of approach that. You got to build a relationship first sometimes before you do that. So, but for sure, if you guys met maybe Patrick briefly on a couple of videos, Patrick is the another one of the main people in our group who's been really pushing hard on this stuff. And he's actually a commercial pilot, pilot instructor, knows a lot about aviation. I think we're going to do an interview with him. He has a lot of good insight about John. Maybe John as a pilot, John, the guy who went missing, John Black Sr., him as a pilot, maybe things about his airplane. We have another pilot named Landon maybe we could do a 2 pilot interview. Maybe we'll do 2 separate interviews. I think both of them are open to be on YouTube and make a video with us.
Yeah.
They can give a lot of really good insight about the planes and aviation, what certain things can matter and not matter, and it's all be really good stuff to hear from them. And they've told us a little bit of stuff here and there, well, actually quite a bit of stuff, but it's a lot to remember, so it'll be nice to get it on video and have it for you guys to be able to hear as well, because it really gives you a bigger perspective of that, being a pilot, that type of pilot, and in that plane and that atmosphere and everything like that, with his health and all that type of stuff. And then we'll probably do one with, I would think, Ross, who's another one of the main people in our group.
Yep. Doing a meeting with Ross, have him on here talking about, because you guys don't really know too much about Ross yet, but we're in contact with him all the time. We need to get him in here on an episode and just pick his brain a little bit on some things. And other than that, we're pretty excited for what we got going on. As you can see, Tyler's got a shirt on that is Not Forgotten Search and Recovery.
Trying to work on some merch a little bit. Not so much for everybody's consumption yet, mostly just for us to get started. But once I was seeing if I had the other shirt. We have 2 different designs. This is just the normal wearing around design. Then we're going to have orange shirts too when we go out and search. But eventually, once we get rolling a little bit and get an audience, obviously, as you guys can tell, we don't have a lot of subscribers right now. But as we get an audience and there becomes a demand for it, we could possibly make some merch for people. And me and my wife actually make them. It's not something like I'm doing it through some company or something like that. We are physically putting these on and making them. So we have the ability to pump out quite a few if the need arises. So so we got that we're working on that. And I think I will really quick. I wanted to show you guys. That's basically where we're at with updates right now as far as things going on. But we wanted to show you guys. Let me share my screen here. If you guys know about kind of any of our searches or anything we've been doing, this is Google Maps. This isn't Google Earth. We use Google Earth to actually identify targets and look at things. I'm just using Google Maps because it doesn't lag and it's a little bit easier. But this is Mayo here. And this is the airport where he was going. So our main search effort right now, I just want to make sure kind of people understand, is we're trying to stick kind of close to the airport right now, 5, 10, 15, 20 miles in the woods and things like that. And also too, this is kind of when I'm talking about a swamp in the winter, I just want to give you guys an idea of what that kind of looks like, because sometimes when you think of a swamp, you just think of kind of dirty or nasty water, but so for example, these are more like lakes, but there's a swamp south of, gotta just find it again. Just bear with me for a second.
On this too, guys, we're just using Google Maps, not the Google Earth Pro. We're just using Google Maps because it doesn't lag the video up. And you can still get a basic idea of what we're trying to do with this. It just doesn't have some of the features and it's not as defined, but this will at least show you what we're doing. There's a swamp right there, Tyler, if you zoom in on those lake areas.
So this is kind of not the best example, but there's big bodies like this around. I can normally find them, but it's just because I'm trying to show you, I can't find one. But this is kind of what a swamp would look like. So actually, there's something kind of weird and white right there. Might want to remember that for next time, whatever that is.
Too bad we couldn't switch the years on it.
And maybe we'll have to pull up Google Earth after this, see what that is. But this is actually, guys, this is kind of the type of thing we're looking at when we're talking about a target. I don't know. That's interesting.
If we were the lake is that?
Well, hold on. I don't know. This whatever this is pretty close. I don't know what this is. This is what we do when we identify a target. I didn't mean to do this, but I guess since we're looking at this right now, I can show you guys. When we find a target like this, we try to look and see how close is it to civilization as far as people? If that little structure, whatever that was, wasn't there, I would say, wow, that is really, really great. It still might be kind of great, but I don't know who this is or what this is. I don't know if this is just
That's
a
obviously
dock,
some kind of a dock with a not a pontoon, but
like
a
a
large canoe of some sort.
yeah. So I don't know, but anyway, that might still be something we would mark. But anyway, back to what I was trying to show you guys originally. This is what a swamp looks like on Google Earth and on Google Images. If there was a plane underneath all this stuff, you wouldn't be able to actually see it. This is all like cattails and just crap that's on top of the water.
Yep, duckweed and all kinds of stuff that's going to grow on there and covered up.
So the only way you're going to be able to figure out if a plane is under here is use a magnetometer, which is something we've been talking a lot about. And that's just a device that goes on a plane or a drone that can fly over a swamp and detect metal in it and tell you if there's metal, like large metal or, pieces of metal, things like that. That's one way to do that. And I'm sure there's other ways too. Metal detectors, things like that. Basically this is the type of thing we're thinking of. This is frozen and we can actually walk out here. Not necessarily this one because there's no target in here, but there's ones that we have found where there's been targets in swamps like this. If we could put a coordinate on that target, if the water freezes, we walk out on it, maybe drill a couple holes with like a handheld fishing auger like you'd use for ice fishing, drop some cameras down in and just kind of see what we see what the water looks like, anything like that. That's kind of what we're thinking about for a possible maybe idea, just to be able to still be do some kind of productive searches in the winter.
We're still just trying to be productive somewhat in the winter, to be efficient and everything, and trying to find this thing as quick as we can. Obviously we'd be searching all the grounds and everything like normal, but with all the snow and everything. And then right now, what is the date today, Tyler? November
30th.
Something. Deer season ain't over.
That's another thing.
Deer season's going to be over, I think. If this season's the same, it should be like December 1st. I think it's over for rifle season. But then it's muzzleloader season for like another 10 days, 15 days after that. Normally it ain't a big deal, but some of these woods that are farther up north, we don't know how many people's in the woods, if we're going to be crossing anybody's hunting areas. Not only do we not want to get shot, but we don't want to be pissing off a bunch of hunters in the woods by just tramping through. They're out there trying to get a deer, and here we come stomping through with a dog and a bunch of other people making a bunch of racket at 10 in the morning. So we're trying not to do that too. We want to be considerate.
Yeah, this is kind of a heavy populated lake, maybe not heavy, but there's some stuff here for sure. Well, anyhow, so yeah, hunting season, that's another big thing why we don't really want to be prancing out in the woods or prancing around out in the woods right now. Until people are done with that. So
the ground's white, all the trees are going to be white with all the snow. So.
Yeah, we're going to be a lot more productive trying to do it when it's summer or fall, spring, something like that. Man, this is interesting though. We'll have to remember that. I don't know what this. I'd
like to go back another year or two or something to see if it changes shape at all.
Yeah, we can.
Or just vanishes altogether. I don't know.
Well, just for future reference, it's
going to be west of 33.
Yeah, west of 33. There's J. Smith Custom Rods. So just take that road over, and it's this lake up. Oh no. Wasn't that lake? Oh yeah, it was this lake right here. Let's just look for this little swamp, and it's right next to it. Right there. So, all right, cool. So remember that for next time. But anyway, guys, just wanted to show you kind of what a swamp looks like on the map and why we can't just figure it out from our chairs. You got to swamp. Swamps are just one of the. If it's in the woods, we can kind of get an idea. But swamps are one thing you almost got to go out there and actually get your hands dirty somehow, some way.
Which summertime? Right now we'd go out there in the when it's frozen. Summertime wouldn't be a problem either. We got kayaks. We can haul in there with the metal detector. We got some magnets and stuff on the ropes there. What are those called, Tyler?
They're like big magnets you throw it. They call it magnet fishing, but I don't.
There's a name for it. But anyway,
yeah.
We can get out there any time of year, but
and the targets that we're talking about, we actually do see white objects or something in the swamp. This one doesn't have anything, but we wouldn't just go to random swamps and start drilling holes. We're gonna go to specific targets, but. And though that's rare because normally you can't see anything on these really. So, All right. So anyway, enough on that.
Yep.
I think we real quick wanted to go over just a couple of interesting notes we just looked at recently that we thought just to give you guys a little more of something to kind of think about here. Did you want to go over those notes, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring them up.
All right. So this is something that was in John Jr.'s, which would be John Black Sr.'s son, John Black Jr.'s notes from a lot of things we got from him. This is one thing that was in there. Am I on the first page or no?
No, this is 2 of 3.
Now I am.
So this is a report that they sent him. This is from Detroit. Oh, this is Detroit, Michigan, September 9th, 1977, but it's from 1486 Hubbard. Anyway,
I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so it's bigger for them, but we can you want me to read it or you want to read it or what?
I believe it was your father's point. Yeah, go ahead and read it.
This is basically a note that John Black Jr. received. It looks like the date was September 9th, 1977. So they went missing in July. So June, July, so August. So a couple months later.
So this is where they're from. So they live in Detroit. This is where they sent it from, I guess. But they actually, when they seen this, they were in Osceola or whatever.
Yeah,
County.
I'll go to the map really quick and show you guys kind of where they were.
Yeah, it was like 15 minutes southeast of somewhere.
So John left right around here in the Detroit area. May have gone to Lansing first, then up to Luzerne. Otherwise, just went straight up to Luzerne. If he did go to Lansing, though, that would substantiate this claim a little bit. But this is where those people are in this letter that we're reading.
Is that the same one? I don't think that's the same one.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Same one. Rose Lake. So
Okay.
She's talking about being on Rose Lake, which is this lake, and she said the beach. So I'm assuming there's some beach on here, like just a little tiny beach area, like something like this, where they're on swimming or something. But in this general vicinity, she said she's 15 miles south of Cadillac. So there's Cadillac. So that would be about, right around there, something like that. That's
okay. Yep. Perfect.
So this is kind of the area they're at. So just so you guys know, while reading this letter, this is the kind of area they're at. So just notice the lake. There is some forest kind of around. I don't know what this looked like back in the 70s, but there is some forest around. There's a lot of trails and roads and little houses and things like that live through here. And then over here it's kind of the same situation. We just did a quick little view of this before we actually.
We haven't really searched this on Google Earth Pro or nothing like that.
Yeah, so we need to. We'll search this area a little bit better, but just face value, it looks relatively populated. It doesn't look real desolate like it does more up near Mile and Lucerne and some of those woods, but it's still worth a peek. But anyway, we're gonna read this letter. So Mr. John Black, for what it's worth, I will, and excuse my reading because its handwriting's a little weird. So
well, the next one's gonna be worse. So
yeah, the next one's in cursive, which is really a bit hard to read, and it's not real good cursive. So for what it's worth, I will give you an accounting of what I saw July 4th, 1977 in northern Michigan. July 4th, 1977, when they went missing. We went up to our place for the weekend. The place was East Rose Lake Forest in Osceola County, about 15 miles south of Cadillac. On the morning of July 4th, my husband and I were sitting in the front of our lot in the shade. We were listening to the radio. They were telling people of the different celebrations that were planned for the 4th in around the area. We were contemplating on going to the parade in Lake City that morning, but it was so hot and muggy, which we remember from our knowing of the weather. It was like 90 degrees that day.
Hot and muggy.
Muggy means like thick and wet, like Florida, like humid, right? Or is it haze? I don't.
Yeah, like a thick, hazy kind of thing, or muggy. Yeah, hot and sticky.
I think muggy more like humid.
Yeah.
Either way, so hot and muggy. It must have been something in our lot. 12 o'clock maybe. Is that what it says? 120.
It must have been 120 in our lot.
I don't know what that means. Oh, 120, maybe 120 degrees. You were saying it was like 120 degrees? Is that what she was trying to say?
Or 120 in the afternoon.
Like military time? Or like 1 p.m. I got you. Like 120. Okay.
120 in our lot.
Okay.
It must have been 120 in our lot because we had several trees removed earlier in June's Have our well put in. 120. I don't really know what that means.
I don't know what that means either, but anyhow. We have a mobile home and let me move my thing out of the way. We have a mobile home and the sun was beating down in the center of the lot. Okay, so I think she's saying it felt like it was like 120 degrees because they removed all the trees, which
like
let the sun
fuel.
just beating on their trailer.
Yeah, it could have been a real fuel of like 110 or 105. That happens a lot.
Okay, so the next page. Sitting up in front in the shade, the forests were so dry for lack of rain. That there were fire warnings. Okay. We decided against going to Lake City because it was so hot. And we heard on the radio that some members of the parade were falling out because of the heat. So it was a hot freaking day, man.
Wow.
Hot freaking day.
I would say, yeah.
It must have been about 1 o'clock p.m. Okay, so now we got time. So it's 1 o'clock. They left Detroit around 11 a.m. My husband took my daughter down to the beach that belongs to the property owners in that part of Rose Lake Forest. I went down in front of our home. There was a narrow strip of shade by then, so I sat on our porch. I was watching some woodpeckers in the tops of the trees. It's so funny because if this was nowadays, it'd be like, I was looking at Facebook on my phone and it was hard to see my phone because it was so sunny.
Hey, real quick too, it must have been around 1 o'clock p.m. So we would have to get the flight from Macomb to here, see where that would be. What time did he leave Macomb?
11.
So we'd have to figure that out. But then we would have to figure out, say if he left Macomb, then went to Charlotte, then went this way, see if the time would match up at all.
And he left Charlotte, I think, around like 12:15. Was it 12:15 or something? Or was it 1:15? I think it was 12:15.
We'll have to look again.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But so anyway, that's interesting. All right, so where were we? So yeah, she was looking at the woodpeckers.
Yeah.
When the plane came right over, he made I lost my spot. Sorry.
He made 2 circles. You're right in the right spot.
Okay, yeah, he made 2 circles low over the forest. In the meantime, my husband came back from the beach. I told him to look at that plane that was circling. I made the remark, must have been lost. He said, it must be the conservation checking the forest. So we forgot about it. And then a little later, we went for a ride throughout the forest. Then a sudden thunder squall came up, which I think just means a quick storm or like a scattered thunderstorm. And it poured so hard that you couldn't see to drive. So that's interesting.
That's a good one.
Downpoured at 1 o'clock. That gives us
shortly.
Around 1 o'clock, between 1 and 2.
Give or take 10 minutes, 15 or something.
Yeah. Okay, so it rained, but it was brief, so it was just like a scattered thunderstorm. We came home the next day and I read in the paper about a plane missing. I told my husband, I wonder if that was the plane we saw. Something drew our attention away from the subject and we forgot about it till I read the paper. This morning, giving a recounting of it, also the color green and white. Now she didn't mention, but she also didn't mention orange because the wingtips and the tail would have been painted orange unless she just couldn't see it or just didn't look that hard. But she said green and white.
Green and white. How many planes are green and white?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
I don't know.
That was the color of the plane we saw. My husband associated the color with the conservation department at the time for some reason. If your father was following the X-way, I'm not sure what that was, he could have gotten confused in that area because
I think the X-way means freeway or highway.
Maybe. In that area because gotten
confused in that area because
some kind of road was under construction, maybe
112 or I-12 or I-2, who knows.
Something was under construction. Oh, I-91 or isn't that a road there? I-91 or I-71 or something like that.
We'll have to look.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyway, it was under construction at the time, heading north from Leroy, Michigan, road towards Cadillac. And if he hit the storm, he could have gone down in that area and the dense forest of the Pine River
in Manistee. Now that's pretty thick in that area.
Because the last circle he made put him in that direction from where we were. We were kind of searching right in that little lake, but yeah, so we want to go a little bit more north. For what it's worth, I certainly hope it helps the search for your parents. P.S. If that plane was your father, then they are searching. They are concentrating on the wrong area, in my opinion. Sincerely, Mrs. Joyce something.
Very interesting.
So let me go back to the map for a second. So this is the lake area. So that Manistee, though, that is, I think, over here. I want to say. I think Manistee. Oh, yeah, here on Manistee Forest. So
Northwest.
that's up in this area. So if they were here circling, she's saying he could have went over here and got lost somehow. Maybe he was trying. Oh, I-31 is probably what that said. That was I-31.
Okay, yep, 131 or
she's saying
I-31.
this was under construction. He could have got lost and went this way and crashed, in this vicinity. Which now this area is
more possible.
That's more plausible. It's definitely there's some thicker stuff in here, and there might even be some.
And we
swamps
really
in
haven't
here.
searched that too good with the Google Maps yet because we've been focusing around the airport and out.
And see,
there's some good stuff in there.
And there's some water over here where possibly there wouldn't have been a whole lot of boats or something, if it's not real heavily.
That's a dam pond.
I
pond.
I don't know that for sure how populated it was, but you don't really know. But so interesting. So this would definitely be somewhere where we might want to focus our computer Google Earth searching a little bit heavier. Once we kind of are finished clearing this area. Over here by Mile in the airport, which I think we're beating it pretty hard. We're doing pretty good. We're getting a lot of targets. Kind of. We've got probably, guys, between 10 and 15 targets that we want to actually go out and physically look at.
Yeah,
so
right now
we're making a lot of progress as far as getting a lot of things to go look for. And we're just focusing so heavy on that right now. And I think I've said this before and the pilots, when we talk to them, will tell you as well, there's a kind of a 5 mile rule and it's not necessarily a rule. It's a tendency or a kind of a statistic that when planes go down, it's usually 5 miles from the airport, in either which they were landing or which they were departing. So that's why we're just starting there first, kind of based on that rule. And also based on the fact that this is the heaviest, thickest, less traveled areas as far as on his flight path. His immediate flight path. This would be over here would be considered like his alternative flight path if he would have went to Charlotte, which that's definitely not something we're crossing off the list. We just want to focus here at the moment. But once we get over to this area, I think that'll definitely, that Manistee area, that'll be a good place to definitely focus our search once we shift our focus to this side of the state a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a lot of green over there.
And anybody who's bored and knows how to use Google Earth Pro and shift through the years and stuff like that, which we actually have a video on that we kind of demonstrated that. If you want to go back and watch that, if anybody wants to go on here and search and sorry, I got something in my mouth. So I want to go on here and search and see if you can find any kind of white objects or anything like that. Feel free to do that and shoot us an email with the coordinates and we'll throw it on the list and we'll go out there and check it out for you and let you know what we find. And if it's a plane, we'll let everybody else. You'll probably won't know right away. We'll probably notify the police first, but then we'll tell you. So anyway, that's kind of what we kind of are up to right now, guys.
Another thing we're trying to get a hold of is the report from the 130 at the Civil Air Patrol in Bay City. We're trying to narrow that down, actually get a hold of somebody who knows what they're talking about over there. See if they can tell us who wrote it down, when it came in, if it reached Bay City first and then went to Luzerne. Did it just go to Luzerne and then Luzerne reported to Bay City? Did it even reach Luzerne at all and just Bay City received it? We're trying to figure that out. That was at 1:30. And he called and requested a car to be in Luzerne at 2:00. We'll see what happens with that. We're going to make some phone calls and send some emails out.
Yeah, we're going to try to reach out to them guys and see what they got for us. So hopefully they got something. But so anyway, guys, I think that's basically it for this video as far as information and things like that. Keep your eyes open for some one-on-one interviews with some different people within our circle and people we've met through the case. Keep an eye out for those interviews. Keep an eye on our Facebook. If you guys, I'll throw our Facebook link in the description. I normally do, but I'll post some videos and sometimes some pictures and things like that on there. If you guys can share that stuff, that would be great. It helps our channel, our YouTube channel, because a lot of it's linked to our YouTube channel, but it's all more important than our YouTube channel. It's going to help the case. It's going to get, especially if you're in Michigan, if you're somewhere, over by, the Traverse City side of the state or anything like that, anywhere in the state, really share that, because you never know what people know. Maybe someone's seen something, back in the 80s and just never thought twice about it and just walked by something. And then they'd hear this and go, oh, I think I've seen something. You really don't know, so it's good to get the word out as much as you can. So help us do that if you guys can. If it doesn't, take too much out of your life to help us, that'd be great.
Yeah. Any help you guys can give us would be great. get the word out, and let's find this plane. Get these, get some, what would you call that? For
Closure.
John and them. Closure,
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. We appreciate you sticking around to the end. Again, please subscribe. That helps us a lot, and it'll notify you when we drop stuff. We're gonna try to grow this thing and find this plane, and we're gonna go find some more planes or people or boats or whatever's missing. We're gonna go try and find it. We might even find your keys if they've been missing long enough. So
yeah, we'll see you in a couple days, guys. Thanks for joining us again.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See you later.